Hey guys, my name is Max. My little dog Jax is around here somewhere. I appreciate you guys tuning in. It is a cold, cold night in Austin. I've been working on this video all day, but I'm excited about it. It's called How to Plan a Simple but Convex Will Strategy. What even is the will? The option will strategy is a systematic income focused option trading approach that involves selling cash secured puts and covered calls in a continuous cycle. It starts by selling the cash secured put on a stock you're willing to own. That's why the put is cash secured, because if the stock's price drops under the strike price, you're going to end up owning that stock. Your broker will make sure you have enough stock in your account to buy the stock, and you'll wake up one morning and you'll just own that stock. But the other thing that could happen is if you sell that put and the stock's price stays above the strike price, you just get to keep the premium and repeat the process. Sell another one next week or next month, whatever the case may be. If assigned, you also get to keep the premium. You always get to keep the premium. But if assigned, you have to buy the stock at the strike price. When you sell a put, it's bullish. And it's something you do on a stock or index that you're willing to own or that you're trying to establish a long position in. Once you own the shares, so this would be the next step, then you sell a covered call on the shares, collecting more premium. When you sell a put, you get premium. When you sell a call, you get premium. Okay. Of course, when you sell a covered call, you also set a potential exit price, because when you're selling a call, that's an agreement to sell the stock to somebody. The stock rises above the call's price and gets called away. You sell the stock, hopefully at a profit, and you restart the cycle by selling puts again. If it doesn't, you keep the premium and you continue selling calls, generating steady income until the stock is called away. Then you start it all over again. Okay, this strategy works best on fundamentally strong stocks with high volatility. The most important thing is it has to be something you're willing to own or something that you're trying to get long in, at least. All right, better make it willing to own. All right, it makes a decent retirement strategy, the will does. I'm going to show you a little change to it that makes it a better one. So step one, the first thing we're going to do, it's not the first step of the will, but it's the first thing we need to decide. We need to do a couple of things first. We need to size our will. We need to decide how much we're going to put into the strategy. And then we also need to decide how many stocks we're going to do. So we're going to start in this example with 3 stocks, and I'll pick the stocks for you. This is probably the hardest part. But I'm going to give you 3 good ones: Archer Aviation, Black Sky, and Redwire. Those are defense contractors, big data type stuff, Palantir type-ish companies. You know, we'll see. I mean, but the thing is, they have good prices. They have good prices. So, and I've also included a link to the article where I got the tip from. I mean, AOL has good financial advice, right? I mean, I like these 3 stocks though, and they're perfect for this thing because they have really liquid options, but more importantly, they have high implied volatility. Okay, so an implied volatility is the options price. The stock's price is whatever the stock's price is: $20 a share, $30 a share, $40 a share. If it's the SPY, it's $600 a share, whatever. That's the stock's price. The options price is whatever the implied volatility is. We'll look at that when we get into option strat. So remember, when you're selling something, you want to sell high and buy low. So the more expensive these stocks are, the higher the implied volatility is. That actually helps us because we're getting into and out of these stocks by selling that implied volatility, monetizing that high volatility. So now would be a good time to talk budget. So let's say we have $500,000 retirement. So I think that we could just check with your own planner for your own situation. My situation, I would say I'd be comfortable with dedicating 2 or 3% to the will. So 1% of $500,000 is $5,000. So I'm going to do 3 stocks at max 5,000 each, 3%. So that comes to actually 400 shares of Black Sky, 400 shares of Archer, and 200 shares of Redwire. I wrote a number down wrong. I'm sorry the first time. Okay, so I'm going to teach kind of the standard will tonight, but kind of not. The standard will with one little twist. So subscribe to my Discord and we can talk more about all these details, and you can get help in there on this. But this is pretty much a basic will with one slight modification. The slight modification involves the fact that I love upside and growth, and so I'm going to show you how to have a partially uncapped upside on the will. In the past, your upside has been capped on the will, traditionally. All right, so here's the next thing we do. We need to sell puts on Black Sky. I think it was 2 of them. Okay, so selling an option, it gives you an obligation. The person who buys the put from you has the option to exercise or not. But if you sell an option, it puts you in a position where you need to perform, or you will perform. Your broker will make sure you have enough money or stock to cover whatever performance issue is expected of you. When you sell a put, you've agreed to buy the stock at the put strike price. Remember, you get a premium up front or an income for selling the put, and the income received reduces your break-even price in the eventual stock trade. So let's look at Black Sky and option strat and try to get a handle on some of this stuff. I put all 3 trades in option strat. We're just going to go over one during the video, but I'm going to share all of them with you. We have RDW, Archer, and Black Sky. Okay, so now we're doing Black Sky, and they're all short puts because we're just step 1. Okay, so let's look at Black Sky. Now, Black Sky, the first thing I noticed is they don't have many expirations. Lots of them have the whole top filled with expirations. SPY, it goes all the way across the page with expirations. Okay, well, this stock just has monthly expirations, and that happens sometimes on smaller stocks. That's fine. These are pretty liquid. So let's drill down a little bit here. What do I mean when I say pretty liquid? Well, you can look at the bid and the ask spread, and they have a 15-cent spread on the bid and ask, which is kind of on the high side, to tell you the truth. You'd rather see a nickel or a dime, or less is better. But as far as volume goes, they traded 1,600 contracts yesterday, and there's 1,200 contracts open today. Now, the implied volatility is not the price of the stock. The stock is priced at 20. The implied volatility is priced at 145. That's what you're really playing when you're selling options. That's the price of the option. And we're going to short that thing because it's so high. That's the idea. That's how we earn an income, or attempt to earn an income. So then next thing that happens is we get assigned Black Sky, and we end up waking up one day and we look at Tasty Trade and we have 200 shares of Black Sky in our account. Okay. Oh, great. So at that point, we sell 1 call, only a single covered call, or only on half your shares. We have 200 shares of Black Sky. We don't want to sell all our Black Sky. We want to keep half of it. This is an old strategy that's been around since the beginning of time. It's called the half buy right, or the half covered call. What it is, you only write calls on half your portfolio, and that leaves the other half of your portfolio unencumbered by call options to grow. So this is important. You want to always do half of the call options. All right, so this is important also. When you sell 2 put options, you're obligated to buy 200 shares of stock at the option strike price. As soon as you buy the stock, we're going to sell 1 out of the money call on the 200 shares, or half, just like we talked about. So the put puts you in a position to perform because you sold the put. It puts you in a position to perform. This call puts you in an obligation to perform. This time you're obliged to sell 100 shares of the stock at the call strike price. Don't forget, though, you own 200 shares. So even if you lose 100 shares of the stock because it goes way up, you aren't totally in trouble because you still have half your position going way up. The real goal in the market to me is to grow wealth. Buying and holding good companies that are in good businesses for the long term to medium term seems to be the consensus on how to build wealth. I don't disagree with that. That is why I've designed these wheel strategies specifically to take advantage of that. You just need 1 or 2 Palantirs in your portfolio to have a heck of a year. With the wheel, you can also harvest a little time premium while you're waiting for the next Palantir to show up. Step 4 is after our call goes in the money and gets called away. Then we're back down to only having half of our stock. We lose 100 shares of Black Sky. That only leaves us with 100 shares of Black Sky. And we just got called away on our call. So what do? After we sell a call, we sell a put. We go from put to call to put to call. It's just back and forth or around and around. All right. So we only need to sell 1 put on Black Sky because we're just trying to get 200 shares and we still have that 100. We still have our original 100. We start the wheel all over again by selling 1 put. Remember, this is a quick review. We sell a put when we want to buy a stock or on a stock that we want to have long exposure on. We sell a call when we want to sell a stock or on a stock we want to generate short exposure on. When we sell a put, we are obligated to perform by buying the stock at the strike price of the put. When we sell a call, we're obliged to perform by selling the stock at the call strike price. When we buy a put, we have the option to sell the stock at the strike price. We don't have to. When we buy a call, we have the option, the right, but not the obligation to buy the stock at the strike price. So remember, after we get back up to our full amount of shares, once we sell the put, then we get back up to 200 shares again. Then what do? Well, then it's time to sell a call again. Do we sell 2 calls? No. On the regular wheel, you'd sell 2 calls, but this is Max's wheel. You just sell 1 call. And just keep it going. All right, risk controls. How much risk you take in this trade or in any trade. It's the only thing you control going in. And we're not only going to look at the per trade risk, we're also going to talk about the per year risk, how much we're going to risk overall, portfolio risk. So in this example, we have 500,000 saved for retirement. And this could work if we aren't retired. So we could easily do a strategy like this and work a job at the same time. It's pretty simple strategy to run. You might have to go to your car Thursday or Friday afternoon around lunchtime. If you have to roll out a position, you have an option that's expiring and it's close to the money or something. If your boss doesn't want you trading from your office, but if he doesn't care, or if you're your own boss, it should be pretty easy. So in this example, we're risking about 12,400, which is about 2.2% of our net worth. If we lose, we're done trading the wheel strategy for the year. That's the deal we make with ourselves. That's the deal I make with myself every year. I've never lost. I've never blown up the account yet. Better luck next year if you do blow up. But if you have a diverse portfolio of growth and income ETFs, and even maybe some high yield sprinkled in with the other 97.6% of your portfolios, you should still be all right. However, you might do pretty well. You might earn a little extra retirement income. You might learn about trading options. You might even discover the next Palantir, just kind of by dumb luck. What I've basically showed you how to do is create your own little homemade Alti. It's similar, not exactly. I've showed you a simplified ULTY. Now, here's what you do not have to do. You don't have to use these 3 stocks. Choose any 3 of your own. But if you don't also have to use my risk controls. You can choose to use 5%, or you can choose to use 1%, or you could choose different percentages. You could choose to use, maybe 4 stocks across 2% of your portfolio. So 0.5% per stock. That could work too. You also don't have to do the half will. You can go ahead and sell 2 calls in step 2. You can sell 2 calls until you buy shares, and then sell 2 calls until they're gone, and do it all over again. That's the normal will, but that has capped upside. The reason I'm only having you sell 1 call is these are long-term. Hopefully there's a long-term growth monster in here, in one of these underlines. The real goal of the will is to acquire stock. The real goal of life is to acquire wealth, in my opinion. So I say hold on to half of the shares, stock, try to acquire wealth. If one of these things can go to 100 and you still have half the shares left, my gosh, what's not to like? Especially because you've been selling premium the entire time on half the position, granted, but pocketing that money. This is giving you a little walking around money, which is always good. So the best case scenario, if you're doing this strategy, is you're able to earn this much premium every month. I think it was like $972. It may not be that much every month. Say it's $500 a month. Times, what is that? Times 12 months. That's $6,000 a year. Okay. This ties up about $13,000. So you pay yourself about a 50% dividend. And maybe one of these stocks does turn into the next Palantir, and this time next year is trading at 75 or 175. That's the real goal, long-term growth, wealth accumulation. But we're fine with picking up a little pocket change or spending money along the way. So if you do well, as you make more money in the will, as you double your money, you can add more stocks. You can add a 4th stock and a 5th stock. And maybe when you get to 5 stocks, you decide you want to drop 1. Maybe you cut 1 and then add 2 more. You cut your worst one and then add 2 new ones. It's up to you. So you can keep the money rolling and rolling. And the more stocks you have, when you get to 4 stocks and 5 stocks, and if you can grow your account after a couple of years to be double the size that you started with, then instead of making $6,000 a year, $500 a month, you can make $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month. And you practice and practice, and then maybe you do this for 5 or 10 years, and then by the time you hit serious real retirement, you're already up and going on this. I think this is a good strategy. This is a legitimate strategy, and there's a bunch of information out there on the internet about this. Picking good stocks is the most important number 1 thing to do. The options don't do anything magic, really, but they do kind of. But the 90% of it's the stocks. 90% of it's the stocks. Okay, the worst case scenario is all your stocks go to zero. Ouch! But don't forget, you've sold some premium on the put options while they were going down to zero, and on the calls, you probably went back and forth from put to call 5 or 6 times before it went to zero. That's how it usually happens. But there's a possibility it goes straight to zero. Hopefully all 3 of them won't go straight to zero at once, but it could happen. It's only 2% of your portfolio. Again, the most important step is picking sound stocks. If it does happen, you're done for the year. So really, to succeed at this strategy, you have to know a little basic math, but you have to be able to identify a good stock. I'll share the spreadsheet. You can follow along with the trades and option strat or subsequent episodes. Ask me questions. Join the Discord. Don't be afraid to modify the will to your specifications. I'm trying to breed option bros. I'm trying to teach you guys how to do it, not what to do. I mean, I can show you what to do also, but I'd rather show you how to do it. And then you show me what you like, which way you think's better. Okay, so here's this simple spreadsheet I have. We have Black Sky. We're selling 2 puts. There's a link to the trade and option strat. Well, I've already shown you the Black Sky trade, but here's Archer Aviation. We sold 4 puts. Let's take a look at that trade really quick. Like I said, I'm going to share this link to this. And I'll keep this updated. We'll watch these and see how we do. Okay. So on this one, we sold the 9-strike put, and we went out till next week because going out one day didn't bring in enough premium. We went out a week in one day. Okay, well, this brings in $168 credit, and that's a week. So we can do that again the next week, and the next week, and the next week. So this might be some pretty good income. This, pretty good income. But you have to look at your break even, $8.58. How did that happen? Well, what strike is the put you sold? It's a 9-strike put. Well, if your break even is $8.58, I can tell you spent 42 cents on this option. Sure enough, cost basis, 42 cents. These options are just simple addition and subtraction. The good thing about this trade right here is the break even is 15% of the way away. You get a 15% discount buying Archer Aviation this way. And you get to keep the $168, or the $168. I guess that is your discount, but that it's good. That's good. All right. So now let's look over here at, I've never heard of this one, Redwire. Now this one had really liquid options. This one only has monthly options. We went out to March on this one. Sold 220 strike puts. Now this one right here, the break even's $18.25, and we sold a 20 strike put. So what does that mean? That we can, how much did we get for those puts? When we sold those, how much did we get? Well, the difference between 20 and $18.25 is $1.75. So you can bet that's what we got for these options. Sure enough, cost basis, $1.75. Now, something else we can look at over here in Option Strat, we can look at the IV, the implied volatility. That's how expensive these options are. Anything over 100 is just obscene. That means, in theory, selling options every week on it, we ought to double our money. I mean, that in theory, that the 111 is that's what we're trying to monetize. And when you're selling premium, that you're literally trying to get that 111%. Now, we may not catch all of it, but that's what you're going for right there. So if we could sell it, if we can find an option that's 150 IV, that's even better for us than finding one that's 50. Okay. So the other thing I want to show you guys is you can look at the delta. Now, the delta on this one is 33. Okay. Delta has several uses and multiple meanings, but the way I associate delta with probability, that option has the reason it's a 33 delta is because that option has a 33% chance of going in the money. Okay, so that means going in the money, that's good for the person that buys it. If you buy a put, you want it to go in the money. When you're selling a put, you don't want that to happen. So as the seller of that option, you have a 67% chance of success, right? Because we can look at the delta and we can subtract 1 from the delta, or subtract the delta from 1, whatever, and we get, watch this, the chance of profit. Oh, it doesn't say it right here. Gosh darn it. This is a different, I did it in a wrong profile. I have 2 option strats. But anyway, I need to save it in my other one. It's fine. It's fine. But if the chance of profit was working here, it would say 67%, or whatever the inverse of that is. Yeah, 67%. Okay, so that's our other trade. And we should win on that 67% of the time. Now that brings in $350 for a month. So that's not bad. Okay. So that's all of our step ones. That's what we have right now. Now I also made a little chart right down here, just a little review. I mean, I know the puts, the selling puts is complicated. It's one of the kind of complex things about options, or sometimes it's hard for people to wrap their heads around. And there's a reason, because in stocks, okay, there's a reason, because in society, people have a connotation of calls as something good and something bullish. They have a connotation of puts of something bad or something bearish. Okay. But then also people, just based on the stock market, have thoughts, they associate being long or buying something with being bullish. And they associate selling something with being bearish. Okay. So the thing is, though, with options, it can vary because it depends on what you're buying or selling. Yes, buying is still bullish in options, but if you're buying a put, you're bullish on a put, and a put is bad or does have a negative connotation. So if you are buying a put, it means you're bullish on puts, which means you're bearish on the market because a put's a bet against the market. If you're selling a put, it's the opposite, and you're bullish on the market. You sell puts on stocks you want to own or stocks you're trying to establish some type of long exposure to. All right, so selling a call, on the other hand. So the selling part is definitely bearish. So if we sell a call, yes, we're bearish on the underlying stock because we're agreeing to sell the underlying stock at the call strike price. So this chart down here, so you buy a call, it's bullish. Buy a put, it's bearish. Sell a call, it's bearish. Sell a put, it's bullish. Hit me up in Discord and ask me questions. And like I say, I'll share all this stuff with you, and we'll have subsequent episodes where we follow up and see how these trades and how these stocks do. All right, guys, have a good day.